Hello friends, in this video I am going to explain about the implementation of counters using PLC. So there are mainly three types of counters are there: up counter, down counter and up down counter. Okay, so generally down counter alone cannot be used, right? So generally this will be used along with the up counter. So for that purpose, we are not going to discuss about the down counter. We are going to discuss about only up and up down counters. Okay, one and three we are going to discuss. As second one, down counter cannot be used alone in most of the cases. And let us see the first one, up counter. So to understand the up counter, now let us take a example. So the example is daily production record using up counter. So in a manufacturing industry, so the many number of products are produced in a day. So now we are going to count those products. Okay. So now that industry will keep some target in a day. Let us suppose 500 will be the target for a particular industry to produce in a day. Okay. So they will count these products by using one sensor. Okay, so here we are going to use one sensor and the products are moving on the conveyor, right? So whenever the sensor detects the product, then the counter will make one count up. Okay, initially suppose if the counter value is 0, whenever the photoelectric sensor X0 is the photoelectric sensor, so whenever this photoelectric sensor detects the product, this X0 will on and it will increment the counter by a value of 1. Okay, like that, as the number of products are coming in, the sensor detects the products and the counter will go on increasing 1 at a time. Okay, like that up to 500. The 500 is the target. So whenever the target is reached, then an alarm will go. So this is the example of up counter. Now let us implement this daily production record using this up counter. Right. So with the PLC, how you can implement this? So in the present example, what are the inputs here? Photoelectric sensor, right? So whenever the target is reached to 500, again you have to set the counter to 0. For that purpose, we are going to use another input X1, which is the clear button. Okay, whenever you press the clear button, the counter value will come back to 0 and again it will start counting from 0 onwards. Okay, so there are two inputs X0 and X1. One is photoelectric sensor, another one is clear button. And what is the output? So whenever the target is reached, the alarm has to blow or an indicator has to display. Okay, it may be the indicator or it may be alarm. Okay, so one output will be there. Right. So you see the PLC connection diagram. So photoelectric sensor is connected to X0 and clear button is connected to X1 and alarm or indicator is connected to output Y0. Okay. So now in whenever the product is sensed by the photoelectric sensor, then X0 will be energized. Okay, whenever X0 is energized, the counter has to be incremented by a value of 1. Like that, as the number of products are coming in, the counter has to increment its value by 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. Okay. So whenever it reaches the target, then Y0 has to on and the alarm has to glow. Right? Alarm or indicator has to glow. See, this is the PLC program, ladder program. So whenever I press X0, sorry, it is not pressing. Whenever photoelectric sensor detects the product, X0 will on. So whenever X0 is on, your counter CNT. So the counter number here, what it is taken is C120. Correct? The C120 counter will increment its value by 1. Okay. So then when another product is detected, then it will increment by another value. So like that, it will count 1, 1, 1 like up to 500. Whenever a target is reached, C120 will be activated. Right? So this will be energized. Right? Whenever C120 is energized, Y naught will go. Right? Whenever target is reached, then C120 will energize and C120 will switch on the Y naught. So Y naught is a alarm or indicator which represents the target has been reached. So whenever target has been reached, then you can reset this counter value to 0 by pressing the X1. Okay, by pressing the clear button which is connected to X1. Whenever you press the clear button, X1 will on. That will reset the C120 counter. Okay. See, I will write a PLC program. So here this is the WPL software. Here you take one new file. Here this is up counter. Right. So whenever your photoelectric sensor is detected, sorry, if your photoelectric sensor detects the product, X0 will on. Whenever X0 is on, counter has to on. Right. So counter has to on in the sense counter has to increment its value by 1. Right. If you want to know the information about the counter, you can go for help. CNT is the counter, which is a 16-bit counter, and it has two variables S1 and S2. S1 is the counter number, and S2 is the set value. Okay, like a timer only, so nothing is different from timer. Okay, right. You go to the device range, SS2 model. Right here you have the counter. So 16-bit counter, if you observe, 16-bit up counter. So here C0 to C11 you are having, which is 112 points, and C128 to C119 will be having. So here in this bracket, star with 1 it is represented, and C112 to C126, 16 points in bracket they are represented star 2. So what is this star 1 and star 2? If you go down, star 1 is the non-latched, star 2 is the latched. Okay, so that means in this 16-bit up counters, C0 to C111 as well as C128 to C199. So these counters are the unlatched counters, and this is the C112 to C127. So these counters are latched counter. What is unlatched counter? What is latched counter? We will discuss while writing the program. Right. So let us see here. C0 is a unlatched, and C120 what we were used in our example program. C120 is a latched counter. Okay, right. So here counter I'm using, suppose C0 you take, which is unlatched. K value, counter value. Actually counter we have to keep 500, but when you want to reach 500 here in this program, you have to press X0 on and off for 500 times. Instead of that, I am going to use only 5. Actually, you have to keep here 500, right? Whenever you want to use 500, this X0 has to be on and off continuously for 500 times, so which is not possible now. So I am using only 5. So whenever the counter value is reached 5, so then C0 will be energized. With that C0 address, you have to make one contactor to glow Y0. Okay, whenever C0 is on, Y0 alarm or indicator will on. So again, to clear the counter, so let us see up to this now. So then clearing we will explain again. Run it. See here, whenever photosensor detects the product, X0 will on. So whenever it is on, the counter will be incremented by its value to 1. Okay. So now the product is gone from the sensor, it will off. Again, if another product comes, again it will on counter will be increased to 2, and it will off. And whenever another product comes, it will be 3 and off. Another counter product will come, it will be incremented by 4 off. If another product comes into the sensor, then 5. Right now our set value is 5 and counter value also reached to 5. So in such a case, C0 this counter internal coil C0 will on, right? Whenever C0 is on, or Y0 is also on. Okay. So now, as we see before, C0 is a unlatched counter. So that means, suppose if the PLC is not in running mode, suppose power supply to PLC is gone, then this counter will come back to 0. So that is the unlatched counter, right? If you use latched counter, even though your power supply to PLC is gone, that previous value will be retained by the latched counter. So that is the only difference. Suppose you see here, it is now in running mode PLC. Suppose if you stop the PLC, what happens here? When you stop is, see here, this counter C0, which is unlatched counter, will come back to 0. Okay. So in the middle of the day, so in the middle of the day, sometimes if the power is gone, then this counter will come back to 0 and again we will start counting from 0. So this should not be happen in a production industry. Okay. So this type of counters you should not use in production industry to count the number of product produced per day. So in that particular case, you have to compulsorily use latched counter. Even though power supply is gone, that latched counter will store the previous value, and whenever power supply came, it will count from that value itself. Okay. See here. So C120 is the latched counter. Okay. Now when you use the latched counter, how it will work. See. Make it run. So now product is detected by photoelectric sensor and counter value increment by 1. Then second product, second time off, and third product if came, it will be detected and counter increment by 1. Fourth product increment by 4. Fifth product is came. Sorry. Here we are setting the counter to C120. So then here also it should be C120 only. Okay. Here also the value is C120. On, off, 1 integrate, on, second time 2, third product, fourth product. So whenever 5 products are detected, so then Y0 indicator will go. No, off. So now if the power supply is gone here, see here, when your PLC is off in stop mode, so that value will be retained here. So because of that reason, we have to clear this C120 whenever the target is reached. Okay. So after reaching the target, if you are not cleared the value, So then what happens? It will count from that 500 to 501, 502, like that it will count. So whenever it reaches the target, you have to reset the counter. Insert 0 and to press the clear button, we were using X1. X1 is connected with the clear button. Whenever you press it, then it will reset the counter. Or SP, reset the counter C120. Okay. See here, when your photo sensor detects the products, then the counter value will go on increasing. Okay, so now it will, as the counter is retaining its previous value 5, until you reset it, it won't start from 0 again. So you have to reset it. You have to switch on your clear button. So then it come back to 0. Okay, now again it will count from 1, 2, 3 up to 5 here. Whenever it reaches the 5, again why not will go. Okay, so again if you want to clear it, you have to press the clear button. So this is about the up counter, right, which is used in the daily production industry to record the number of products produced in a day. Okay, right. So then what is the second counter? Down counter. So as I said before, down counter alone cannot be used in any application, right? If you are having any application, so you mention that application in the chart bar, I will try to design the counter for that particular application, right? So I'm expecting that there is no counter, sorry, there is no industry which will use the down counter alone. Okay, generally the up down counter will be used in particular industry. Let us see the up down counter. So up down counter, here I'm taking and I'm taking one example as monitoring the product amount in a warehouse. So you are having the warehouse, so there are certain number of products, okay, and this warehouse is having one entry and one exit. So one entry door and one exit door. So the products will come into the warehouse through this entry and leave the products through exit. Okay. So now at entrance you are placing one photoelectric sensor, and at exit also you are placing one photoelectric sensor. Okay. Whenever product came into the warehouse, it will detect the product and the counter value will be incremented by 1. So that means the number of products value will increase by 1. So whenever product will be gone from the warehouse, so then the sensor at the exit will detect the product and it will decrement the counter value by 1. Okay. This is how up down counter will work. So when and also here we are going to use one alarm binary. So this alarm binary will glow whenever this warehouse is having a certain number of products. Let us say this warehouse will be filled with 40,000 products. Okay, 40,000 or 4,000, whatever may be the value. So whenever it reaches particular value, so then this Y0 has to blow. So Y0 is the alarm. Okay, right. Let us implement this monitoring the product amount in an industry or in an warehouse with the PLC. Right, here also you are going to use one counter which is not only up counter, it has to measure the down counting also. Okay, so the key for this example is you have to use the 32-bit addition or subtraction flag M1216. Okay, M1216 is a flag register. So by switching on and switching off of this flag register, you can make one one counter to be measured either up or down. Okay, suppose when M1216 is on, then this counter C216 will be counting down. Okay, suppose if M1216 is off, then C216 will count the up. Okay, now see here, whenever M1216 is reset in the sense off. Okay, so whenever M1216 is off, it will count up, and whenever M1216 is on, it will count down. Okay, now how you can say particular counter value has to be increment by 1 or decrement by 1 depending upon these sensors x0 and x1. Whenever x0 is on, so that means whenever this photoelectric sensor detects the product, so then the product is entering into the warehouse, so the counter has to be increment by a value of 1. So what you have to do, this M1216 counter has to be off. Okay, whenever x0 is on, you have to reset the counter M1216, right? So then this C216 will be counting its value by 1 up. Okay, similarly, whenever x1 sensor is on, that means this photoelectric sensor detects the products going out, then this M1216 will be on, so that it will count the down, right? So that means the product is going out of the warehouse, so the number of products in the warehouse will be decreased by 1. Okay, like that. So see here, when you are going to use two photoelectric sensor is these are x0 and x1. So now as per this program, when x0 is on, that means photoelectric sensor is on, M1216 will be off. It will be reset in the sense off. So your counter value will be count its value by 1 up. Okay, x0 on, M1216 will off, counter up. So now here x0 is on, so this counter C216 value will be increment by 1. So similarly, whenever sensor 2 is on, the M1216 flag register will set. That means it will on, and the counter will count its value by counter will count its value by 1 degree. Okay, so whether x0 or x1, any one is on, your counter has to on here. As per this program, whenever x0 is on or x1 is on, so in both times your counter has to energize. Okay, so the counter has to energize, and the counter value increment or decrement is decided by this M1216. When it is off, it will increment. When it is on, it will decrement. Okay, now whenever the products inside the warehouse reaches 40,000, then your output Y0 will energize, so the alarm will ring. Okay, so you write the same program here itself. So I'm deleting this. Here. Whenever you press x0, so then what it has to be done? How to reset the flag register M1216. Okay, and when X1 is on, you have to set the M1216. Right? So in both the cases, whether X0 is on or X1 is on, whether X0 is on or X1 is on, in both the cases, your counter has to on. Okay. So here your counter is this 32-bit counter. So that counter is called a double counter, DCNT. DCNT is the 32-bit counter. Okay. This counter value what you have to take here is 216. And how many? So here actually in our example, the total number of products they were taking it as a 40,000 in the warehouse. Target value, maximum value, let us say. So 40,000 when it reaches, alarm has to blow. So but 40,000 times you cannot switch on and switch off in software. So because of that reason, I'm going to use only 5 here. Okay, so that means 40,000 I'm reducing to 5. Okay. Now you compile the program and kept in simulator mode on switch on online, then or on the PLC. So now here whenever X0 is on, it will reset and count its value by up. See here on, your counter is increased by its value by, right? If another product comes, it will become 2. Whenever how many times the sensor value detects the product, so that many times the counter value will go on increasing. A5. Whenever 5 value is reached, so then why not has to ask now. So that also you should write. Whenever C216 reaches to 5, then why not has to on. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever it reaches the 5 value, that means the target is reached here. Okay. So whenever it is 5, C216 will on, then why not will go. So even now also you can, it will, if the any product comes, it will increment. Okay, but whenever it is greater than 5, it will go. So now if you want to decrement it, you have to press X1, or your photoelectric sensor which is at the exit has to be detect the product. Whenever product is detected by this photo sensor which is at exit, so the value will be decremented by 1. See here, it is coming to 5. Then again on 4, again on 3, like that. Okay. So depending upon the M1216, whether it is set or reset, it will count up or down. When M1216 is on, it will count down. So you just keep it here. So to C216 counting mode is decided by this flag. When on, it will count up. You are getting here. So when up, it will be counting up. Right? Okay, ma. So if you're having any doubt, you make a comment. I hope you are understood well. Thank you very much.